80 boxes of ammunition have been impounded by the police in Accra. The bullets, which were kept in a luggage of an AOA vehicle, were being transported from Accra to Techiman in the Bono region. This comes at a time when the crime rate in the country is rising, with armed robbery topping the chart. So how secured are we as a country, and are there no laws regulating the use of ammunition in the country? Now, if there are, how then do armed robbers and ordinary people get hold of unlicensed weapons plus ammunition so easily and also go about using it unjustifiably? In all of these, it is alleged some police personnel aid these practices. And if that is true, then how sure are we of police protection as a country? This is today's big story with me, Ibrahim. 3 people, Kojo Billy, 47, the driver of the bus, Ibrahim, 23, the conductor, and the suspected owner of the ammunition, who is only referred to as Alhaji, have so far been arrested. Let's now listen to DCOP Christian Tete Yohonu, who addressed the media on the issue. Welcome back on today's big story. We'll bring you the sound bites right now after some interviews over the phone lines. Let's get on to the phone lines because we have some security analysts over there. Good evening. Many thanks for your time. I believe we lost all of them. We'll be back shortly on today's big story. We're back on the lines with Dr. Kwesi Ening. He's a security analyst with the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Center. Good evening. Many thanks for your time. We lost Kwesi Ening there. We've actually been talking about 800 boxes of ammunition that have been arrested. It was actually on its way from Accra to Techiman in the Bono region, and it has been impounded by the police. The police tells us 3 people have been arrested: the driver, the conductor, and the owner, assumed owner of the ammunitions, only known as Alhaji. We're looking at the security implications of this because we're just coming out of an issue that happened in Talensi where some young men had ammunitions with them and they were just using it irresponsibly. And so we're looking at how all of these are culminating into the danger in which we're living with our security. Good evening, Dr. Ening. Many thanks for your time on today's big story. Hello, Dr. Ening. You're on today's big story.
Yes, thank you.
Well, barely a few weeks ago, we were wondering how some young men were able to come by weapons and ammunition to distract the by-elections in Talensi. Today, we are told the police have impounded 800 boxes of ammunition. Only God knows how many have gone unnoticed. Are we safe as a country?
We are neither safe and neither are we very honest with ourselves.
Why do you say that, Doc?
Well, every period before an election and during an election, we see vehicles carrying weapons and ammunition. I would challenge you, and I think I've done this several times this year, to ask the judiciary and the police how many of these cases have been prosecuted and what was the judgment. It looks to me as if we are arresting these smugglers, and that is the end of the case. So let me challenge you once more. Which company imported this ammunition into the country? What is the name of the company? When did they get a license? Who allowed them to take those guns or those ammunition from the port? And how were they able to travel to wherever they were going? There's a certain sense of hypocrisy in this country that basically says, if you are well connected, you can do whatever you want. So, look, I'm so sick and tired of talking about small arms in this country because nobody seems to care, and those who matter don't care. And I think it would have been quite nice if those who issue the licenses for importers of both the guns and ammunition into this country were put onto this show.
Right.
So please try and get the person who issued the licenses so we can have a conversation. Otherwise, I think we are just wasting the time of the people who are listening to this program.
But recently, there have been incidents involving robbers who use these ammunitions on some innocent individuals to rob them off. Now, is it a question of a systemic failure? Yes, you've just talked about people who issue the license, but what really has gone wrong?
Well, what has gone wrong is what I use for my consultancy, which I cannot share with you. You see, because we just don't give a damn about what has gone wrong. And I'm asking you, find out who issues the licenses, how many licenses have been issued, what types of licenses have been issued, and I think we can find out what has gone wrong.
Indeed, we'll be getting them on the phone to also ask them certain questions.
Please, get them on the phone and call me back. Because, you see, I've been talking about this for 15 years. And it's getting worse by the day.
Let's look at the security implications now, Doc, now that you're on the line. It has been alleged that the police personnel also aid some of these practices. In fact, we've seen some of them being arrested and brought to light. So how sure are we of police protection as a country?
Now, I think police protection as a country is only indicative of the processes and the evaluations of those who apply to get these licenses. The police can only protect insofar as we give them the tools, the intelligence, the logistics, and the power to do their work. You see, how much background checks do we do on those who apply for the licenses to import this ammunition and guns?
Right.
And if we do not track where the failure is, we cannot blame the police. Because, you see, if the police, these guys have been arrested because the police officer or the customs officer who reported them is just an honest person.
Right.
And they were bold enough to say, if you mention some big man's name, you call the big man. I'm scared of that big man. You see, so if you do your investigative journalism well, and you talk to the policeman who arrested these guys, and said, did these guys threaten you? Okay, a 23-year-old kid cannot load those AA and AB bullets, and in those quantities. How much money does that person have?
Right.
Does that person have a company? Who is the big person funding, supporting, and creating opportunities for this 23-year-old kid? Okay, so there are bigger questions that we need to be asking, and our interest should be about those in the background who are manipulating these processes for their pecuniary ends. And sometimes I feel as if we are not interested in chasing the big guns behind these criminal enterprises. And those are the people that we should be looking at. So let's ask counterfactual questions. Is the smuggling of X into this country good for? And who are those who have an incentive and a drive to ensure that these guns get into particular places?
But Doc, we're all worried. Yes. How do we find out these guys? These guys are in the corridors of power. How do we get them?
Yes, but the people don't get into the corridors of power without a network. It's you and I who put people into the corridors of power. But we need this 23-year-old kid to tell us who are the people who have funded him, who have promised him that he can take the guns or the bullets from point A to point B. Let him miss those things. And then let us put those people on trial. And let us lock them up. You see, because if we are able to break this chain of, do you know who I am? I will deal with you. The castle will come crumbling. And I think you've got back and talk to that police officer or the customs officer who arrested this particular consignment. Because some negotiations went on at that checkpoint. The negotiations failed, and the officer decided that they will report the thing. So first, we need to say to those officers, kudos for the good that you have done. But then let's come back step by step and disaggregate how you got to that. We need to get those who are behind this and pulling the string. And we can start from the Ministry of Interior.
Right.
Say, how many licenses have you given? Give us the names of the companies.
Right.
Who are the executive directors of those companies? And let them give us their import schedule. And then you see that the story will be really very interesting, very fantastic.
But you've clearly stated that normally when it's getting to elections, that is when we see more of these. Who should we blame for this? Should we blame the politicians?
No, we should blame all ourselves. We should blame the whole... I mean, we can't blame politicians. Politicians, who are politicians? Politicians are ordinary people who garner a bit of money, win their local primaries, and win an election because we vote for them. No politician is more important than those of us who vote for them. Maybe the Privileges Committee will invite me to appear before them for what I'm saying. But that is the truth.
Right.
We give those who go to Parliament the power. That's number one. And I think we shouldn't be afraid to tell them when they make mistakes.
Exactly.
Number two, we should be bold enough to say, if we disaggregate those who are entrepreneurs of violence in this country. Look, I'm sitting in my office with some two very charming ladies, and I'm having a glass of wine. So please, if I don't make too much sense, please do understand me. But we need to begin to ask tough questions. And one of those questions is to say, who are the entrepreneurs of violence in this country?
Right.
And it's not just about politicians.
And from where you sit, who would you say are the entrepreneurs of violence in this country?
Oh, business is business. Business is business. And it's not just about politicians. It's ordinary people. It's ordinary business. Men, it's anybody at all who can make a profit. Okay? And violence is good business. We saw it in Bimbala. We've seen it in Talensi. We've seen it in Abu Bloshi. Violence catapults people into power. Violence undermines the ability of your business competitors to perform. Violence gives you access to chieftaincy. You can steal people's land. So violence is not as bad as we think. In the short term, it actually transforms people's lives. But you see, violence is not the solution to what we need in this country. We have to say we don't want violence, and those entrepreneurs must be dealt with. And I think in this particular case, if we ask the proper questions and the tough questions, the input that I've given to you, and I hope you can come back to me in about the next 2 or 3 days' time, and let's have a conversation on your program on Saturday.
Exactly, Dr. Aiding. But I'll have you hold for a minute because Ibrahim is also on the other line. Hi.
Who?
Ibrahim.
Who is that?
He's a security analyst. He's also on the other line. And so let's gauge his mood 1 minute. We'll have you hold for a minute. Hello, Irbad. Many thanks for your time.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yes, we're talking about this 800 ammunition that's being impounded by the police. Let's look at all these issues. In Bimbala, we've had young people having guns, and we're wondering who gave them the licenses. And we're looking at Talensi by elections where people were using it, irresponsibly. We're looking at how we're handling issues of weapons irresponsibly in this country. Where are we going wrong?
I think we are arresting the wrong people. These two gentlemen that have been arrested are only couriers.
3.
And perhaps they didn't even know the contents of the things they were carrying. So therefore, I think we need to go higher up the chain and find out the hidden hands that are behind this. One of 3 things could have happened. It could be that these weapons slipped into our porous borders, and we know so well that a section of the Ghana Immigration Service has been compromised. As I speak to you, there are operatives of the GIS that have not been paid their salaries in the past 1 year or so. So if there is such ill, remuneration and lack of motivation for them to work, just anybody can slip such deadly weapons into the country.
But it's obvious we have some security lapses as a country, of course. If an individual can carry or smuggle 800 boxes of ammunition and only God knows what its intended purpose is, then indeed we have challenges.
Yeah, I think we need to look at the source of these ammunition. We know people trade in arms on the black market. But the quantum we are talking about, we aren't talking about a dozen boxes, up to 80 boxes. So this couldn't have been just an easy purchase on the black market. I can even push the envelope further. I won't be far from right to say that this could be a potential breach of one of the country's safeguarded armories as a result of the corrupt practices we have within a section of the national security apparatus. My dear sister, people ask themselves all the time, someone who is working in the public sector, why am I working? I have a wife and 3 kids. At the end of the day, there isn't enough security for me when I go on retirement, so I can make as much money in the interim as it makes itself available. So some big person, this person could be a politician, the person could be a non-state actor that deals in arms. Certain people have been bought along the way. So therefore, we need to go to the root of the matter. And we already know how turbulent and volatile the northern section of the country is. Certainly, any weapon that moves from Accra through Techiman is bound for one of the 3 northern regions.
Exactly.
We're only adding insult to injury. And we need to get to the root of the matter. The Arms Commission, the National Arms Commission, I don't want to say it's quite derelict. Maybe it's not equipped enough to be able to track such small arms within the system. But this bust is just the quantum, the magnitude is quite surprising, and I would doubt greatly if this was purchased off the black market. There must be some complicity at some point higher up the chain.
Well, let me hold you on also for a minute and get back to the other phone line where Dr. Aini, I'm told we lost Dr. Aini, we'll be trying to get him back. But Ibrahim, back to you. Ghana used to be tagged as one of the most peaceful countries in the sub-region, devoid of attacks and all of these negative vices. Have we lost it?
No, you can't call Ghana a bastion of security within the sub-region again. I think you should look up to other countries. Within Africa, we have Botswana, we have Mauritius. Those are the most stable countries we have currently. The country is wide open. We have 42 approved entry points when you travel into Ghana terrestrially, and loads of other unapproved points. Look at what happened at our borders and at our harbors. Tema Harbor, as if there is no, proper, regulation over there. There are the ways that are carted away. Stuff gets imported into the country on the blind side of those in authority. Naelia Metefe almost slipped through with some kilos of cocaine and all that. Everything is just going amiss. So therefore, I shudder to think if any external force wants to do harm to this country's national security, that external force will not succeed. We are wide to open, and I believe so well that as a country, the time has come for us to revise our security notes.
So we have lost it completely. We've lost it as a country. Right, let me have you hold on. Let me hold you on a minute and pick Dr. Amin, who is back on the line. Dr. Amin, you said that the judiciary has a lot of work to do in all of these because there are a lot of cases which needs to be prosecuted, and there are a lot of people who need to be sanctioned. That has not been done. Can we therefore go and hold the judiciary and ask them why we're going through all of these?
Well, I don't think it's just a matter of faulting the judiciary. I think it's about our investigatory powers, the quality of the prosecution's case, better intelligence about who is importing these guns. but even more importantly, an ability to understand, the unintended impact of the availability of these guns on livelihoods. See, because if we have all this information, then the judiciary will be able to respond. But the legislation governing small arms in this country is fairly inadequate, and we need to look at that. Now, I listened to your other security commentator earlier on, and I think he was talking about the porosity of our borders.
Right.
That is a mega problem. The other problem that he may possibly have spoken about relates to the quality of our armories and magazines, where these guns are stored. The third is the public perception of their own insecurity and therefore a desire to protect themselves, which also leads to a proliferation of arms because people want to acquire these arms.
Right.
But even more disturbing is that we don't have a nuanced and sophisticated approach to understanding the demand and supply side of small arms.
Right.
And were we to understand that and then to tie all these factors in to what your earlier respondent was talking about, I think we will be able to have a better grip and a grasp on the small arms problem. Unfortunately, it's going to get worse.
Is it an issue of the issuer of the licenses doing a wrong job or negligence on their part?
Well, I think it's part of that. The question is, you see, and that is where I want you to get the Interior Ministry to tell us how many guns licenses have been issued in the last 10 years, to whom, how many guns have they brought in, how many ammunitions have they brought in, how many explosives have they brought in. Because you'll be quite surprised to know that a small country like Ghana is the single largest importer of industrial explosives. Now, they will tell you that it is used in mining, but our mines are not producing the wealth that the South African mines are producing. So there are a lot of fundamental questions that we as a nation have to ask ourselves and to say how appropriate are the existing legislation and how do they respond to our lived challenge. And if they don't respond to it, how can we come together to design legislation appropriate and timely?
Obviously, there are lapses in our security system, and of course, it's the ordinary Ghanaian that pays the price at the end of the day. How do we check this, Doc? Because it's so worrying.
Well, security is a shared experience. Security is a shared responsibility. So for ordinary people to feel secure and to go about the normal business, I think the former security agencies would have to say, how do we get ordinary people to join us in providing us with information? The biggest security threat to this country is about some terrorism, which is a threat, but it's about floods, it's about fire, it's about the filth, the public unhygienic environment in which we live. Those are the challenges. But we need to get the public to say, the public, communities, and government are together in finding solutions to this.
So obviously, it's a job for all of us to do.
It's a job for all of us, yeah.
Well, many thanks to you, Dr. Amin. We really appreciate your time on today's
Thank you
great
very
story.
much. I can go back to drinking red wine.
Right, we wish you well. On the other phone line is Ibrahim. So how do we as a country go back and redeem that image which everybody used to talk about, Ghana, and investors wanted to come here and even invest? How do we redeem that image?
Every investor would want to take a plunge into a country where there is enough stability for their investment, because nobody wants to go to business to run at a loss. Many other countries surrounding us have lost opportunities. I know expat companies that have actually relocated from some other countries, and they are in Accra currently. So if you continue to create this atmosphere of uncertainty for them, then in the long run, going to, shut up their doors and then leave the country. So therefore, there is a overarching impact that comes with the baggage we call instability in any country.
Right.
And instability starts small. We don't envisage an open civil war in Ghana. But if you don't take care of such loopholes and they coalesce, they turn into a Frankenstein's monster that takes you by surprise. So we need to get to the root of the matter. But my sister, nobody can exude patriotism on an empty stomach. You can't do that. You can't, because you love Ghana. If senior officers are getting their palms greased to let certain contraband pass through, you are so patriotic and nationalistic, you stand against the grain. It doesn't happen. There isn't enough remuneration. People aren't paid well. So if 80, bags of such lethal, egregious material can find their way, then very soon you'll be talking about high-powered explosives that will be commuting through the streets of Accra. And look at Accra, the capital of the country. And two weapons have come here, even though the regional commander has said they acted upon a tip-off. I think we should have, stopped these criminals in their tracks before they even thought of moving the contraband into Techiman.
Certainly, so the police has a lot to do. They need to do more, even though they're doing something. Many thanks to you, Brad Ibrahim. We're extremely grateful for your time on today's Big Story. We've been talking about 800 packs. 80 boxes of ammunition making up 800 packs of ammunition, and that's not a small joke. A lot of them are getting into the country. This is what we've just seen. We don't know what we've not seen, and we're told by security analysts we should expect more. It means that the country is in danger. But what we know certainly is that the police and the other security agencies must up their sleeves and make sure that they help in curtailing this. We have been on today's Big Story. We'll be back on Joy News Interactive.